Hey everybody, this is Jack Acid with ApexHead.com bringing you episode 11 of the I'm No Expert series following the first season in career mode in F1 2011 racing with Force India and coming off back-to-back victories, my first and only 2 wins of the season. So hoping that I can compete here in Belgium. I love Spa, it's my favorite track on the calendar. Eau Rouge, the Kemmel Strait, there's a lot of things to love about it. You can see it's an overcast day, but there is no rain in the forecast. Actually had heavy rain in qualifying, which has a lot to do with my qualifying position of 7th. And speaking of qualifying, let's take a look at the starting grid. On pole position, Fernando Alonso in the Ferrari, and Sebastian Buemi qualifying P6 on Toro Rosso, so that's a big surprise for the starting grid. And you can see that my teammate qualified in 18th. So this is actually my 3rd straight qualifying from the 7th position, which has been my lucky number. But as I just mentioned, my teammate qualified 18th, so not so lucky for him. In fact, I think this is the 3rd time that he's qualified there, so sort of a disturbing trend here for Force India. And I really had a hard time working with the setup for Spa. It's a very, very quick track and spent a lot of time testing and was never really satisfied with any of my setups. So taking a quick look at our tires, and as I mentioned, it was a wet qualifying session, so starting on fresh options, going to be pitting in lap 4. And what I meant by my qualifying position having a lot to do with the weather was basically because I went out and got a pretty good lap in before the weather kicked in. And so the cars that would normally be ahead of me really didn't have an opportunity to go out and beat my time. So given the discrepancy between my starting position and Sutil's, chances are I'm not really on pace for a P7 finish. That's just my speculation. Spa is very fast in 2011. It's almost like Catalunya 2010 fast, but not quite that bad. So here we are to start. Looking to have a go on Schumacher on the inside down into turn 1, and the field slows down very fast, and you can hear a little bit of bumping with cars. That first corner bunches up very quickly, and now chasing Vettel into Eau Rouge. Always a little rusty hitting Eau Rouge on the opening lap. Let's see how I handle it. Turn just a little too late. You can see I start to go wide and basically able to keep it on the rails. Not too bad, but you can see that Webber is very, very quick and anxious to get around me, and you can see there's a pretty good train of cars behind me. And the opening laps on Spa is very important. It's important on every race, but because it's such a fast track, as I mentioned before, it's even more critical here to try and maintain a higher position and hopefully ride that out until you get into the pits. You can tell that the pace of Webber is very, very strong and definitely faster than me. And I'm taking pretty good lines. I'm not exactly sure where I lose time in Spa. You can see Webber having a look on the inside, but he thinks better of it. And now chasing me on the inside. Let's see if I can fend him off here. And there might have been some slight contact, wheel to wheel. And he finally backs off and allows me to keep P3, but you can see that he is right on me, all over my gearbox, and I cannot get any breathing room whatsoever. And now coming out of this bend is when the AI seems to be very, very quick. See if Webber's able to slingshot his way around. I don't see anything yet. Here he comes. Now having a look on the outside, and he's able to get around me. And let's see if I can get around him. Oh, very quick right through there. Able to maintain that flat out in 7th gear and able to get in front of Webber. Let's see if I break in time. And definitely a little late, but able to recover reasonably well. So coming around to the end of lap 1, still in P3. Now let's see how long we can hold off the Australian. Clearly his pace is superior to mine. And I can see Vettel and Alonso up here. So far the leaders haven't gained too much of an advantage, but you can see that Vettel does have almost a 3-second lead over me, which is pretty significant. That's definitely very, very good for the opening lap. There's no question about it. And now looking at Eau Rouge for the 2nd time, handling it a lot better, but Webber's still extremely fast. And you may have noticed that I'm taking you through lap 2. Oh, you get a yellow flag warning and then back to green. May have been slight contact up ahead between Vettel and Alonso, and Webber not backing off at all. And you can see I get a little sloppy through there, trying to keep it in 4th gear, and so able to maintain for now. And this corner in particular gives me a lot of problems, and handling it pretty well through there, but it's very, very easy to go wide there, and especially in bad weather conditions, it's just an absolute crapshoot every time I go through it. So you may have noticed in the first sector I hit purple, so that's a good sign that I might be able to maintain with the leaders, but you can see on the mini-map that they are stretching out pretty well here. Like I said, I've had a really hard time keeping pace with the AI on this track. I would say that the leaders were typically putting in about 3-second better lap time. 3 seconds, that's a lot of time. So I have no idea where I'm losing it here. Hit purple in sector 2, so another good sign. I may be braking too early into the final chicane. As you can see, Weber is thinking about having a go here. And this is where he passed me on the first lap, but able to stay in front of him here. Let's see if I can maintain flat out. No, I cannot. Hit the curb. Have to drop it into 6th gear and then back up to 7 briefly, down into 2nd and into 1st to get around here to the end of lap 2. So let's have a look at the gaps as we head into lap 3. And you can see that Vettel has got a very, very good gap building on it, almost 0.8 per lap. So a win is pretty much out of the question at this point, just looking at the timing and scoring as of now. And Eau Rouge has a whole lot to do with how well your lap goes, and let's see how we handle it here. Almost perfect. You can see I had to let off just a little bit at the end, so I basically turned in a little bit late at the top of the summit. And once again, you can see Weber closing in on me on the Kemmel Straight, so I'm not sure how long I'm going to be able to fend him off. Skipping ahead here to lap 4, you can see he's still breathing down my neck. And you may have noticed in my setup before the race that I've got my gearbox set up to be pretty slow, changing through the gears a little bit slower than normal. It seems to make for a smoother ride, and you can see Weber is absolutely itching to get by. Go a little bit wide here. This is definitely the hardest corner for me, and Weber able to overtake, and now I'm defending myself against Hamilton in the McLaren. So let's see if we can maintain pace with Weber, and you can see I go a little bit sloppy there and start to shave there, and you can see my tires are getting relatively worn. I am due to pit at the end of this lap. Let's see if I can at least hold off the McLaren. You can see that there's pretty much no chance I'm going to catch Weber, at least on this lap. And honestly, it might be all for the better, because for 4 laps I've been having to fight Weber off at every single corner. So let's see what happens after we come out of the pits. And I was tempted to pit 1 lap earlier than this, just because I was concerned about a busy pit lane. You can see I changed my fuel mix down to lean just to save a little bit here. And here's where the team can make or break the race. It is very busy. Let's see what happens. I'd like to get under 4.5 and being held up badly. And this is a complete disaster. Almost 8.5 seconds, now stuck behind Heidfeld in the Renault, so there is no question that I lost many positions because of that pit stop. That was horrible. And now I'm really regretting not having gone in sooner than that. Normally the AI is pretty good about that. That was a problem in 2010, but not so much in 2011. Kind of rare, but that dropped me all the way to 14th. So now skipping ahead to lap 5, competing with Kobayashi. And start to go a little bit wide here, and he's going to have a move on the inside, and slight contact, wheel to wheel. See if I can muscle my way around here. He's not giving up at all. A little bit of fishtailing on Kobayashi's part, but not able to get around, and now chasing him down with Buemi in hot pursuit. And go a little bit wide, following a little bit too close, and now the Toro Rosso looking on the inside. And now we are competing down, and he's not going to be able to get around me as long as I can maintain my line through here. So now chasing the Sauber and hoping that I can catch him at the break point, perhaps at the end of the lap. But because of the pace of the AI, it's pretty suspect if I'll be able to catch up with anybody at this point, especially when I'm getting this kind of pressure from a midfield car like the Toro Rosso. Although again, Buemi did qualify 6th, so his pace has been very good here. Able to stay flat out through there, and coming up to the final chicane before the end of the lap. Let's see if we can collapse this gap here, getting close up with Kobayashi around the final corner and down the start-finish straight. Let's see if we have an opportunity at the braking point at turn 1. Going to have outside leverage here, and I want to be very mindful that I don't cut him off. And you can see I turned way too late there. In reality, my thumb kind of slipped off the controller as I was going to make a turn there, so I turned too late, and that cost me dearly. And now I'm going to have to follow the Sauber up into Eau Rouge, see if we can keep it on line. And down the Kemmel Straight, you can see I'm maintaining pretty good pace. I've activated DRS, and now using curves for an extra boost. I am just absolutely desperate to get by him here, otherwise there's no way I'll pass him on this lap. And very, very fast braking, slight contact. And there was contact there. I don't know exactly how bad. There was no warning from the stewards. I did hear the noise, and Kobayashi is still behind me. And there's the engineer updating me with the damage report. Yes, Kobayashi does in fact have front wing damage, but he is telling me that it's not that significant. So probably not going to do me any good in terms of building a gap. Very difficult to pass right there at the end of the Kemmel Strait. It's one of the only opportunities to pass. But I didn't actually have that great a position, and honestly that was probably questionable judgment on my part. So now skipping ahead to lap 7, still the same running order, trying to stay ahead of Kobayashi. And Aguilasari up in 8th position's got almost a 4-second lead over me, so now with just under 3 laps to go, there is almost no chance that I'll do any better than 9th. So I really want to keep this position, at least stay in the points. But Kobayashi's having none of it. Here we go again. Down at the end of the Kemmel Strait, brake, stay on the inside this time, hoping to avoid contact, and grip problems for Kobayashi, able to swing back around and retain my position in P9. So another exhausting duel with the Japanese driver. Now skipping ahead here to the start of lap 8, which would be the fastest of the race. We've got a low fuel load as well as feeling pretty warmed up here. And what the heck has happened to Alonso? He's running P24 right now. Don't forget he started on pole position, and I just noticed that he's running 24th, so he must have had some kind of an incident. Hard to say what happened. Let's see what happens when we get to the race results and see where he ends up finishing, but that's pretty surprising. And you may have noticed that I had to drop it into 6th gear at the top of Eau Rouge. Ideally, if you can hit it perfectly, you don't have to downshift at all, so I was only able to handle it the right way maybe 2 or 3 laps, probably even less than that, maybe even 1 or 2 times. So here's where the AI gets very, very quick, and you can see that Kobayashi is still pressuring me and coming into my second least favorite corner of the circuit. But I did learn a trick about it, and that is that if you come into it in if you come into it in 3rd gear and drop it into 2nd, about midway through you can hold your line through there. The corner falls away very, very quickly, and I found that if I keep it in 3rd gear, unless I angle it just right, I tend to go wide. And this is actually the most difficult corner for me to hit consistently. In fact, I don't even hit it that well there, but for some reason it's very, very difficult for me to be consistent through there. The previous corner that I was mentioning, knowing the gears and when to shift, that makes all the difference in the world. So that's still the one corner that I have yet to work out and master. But it's nice to at least have one breakthrough. Every time you get to a circuit, you want to have at least one breakthrough. So you can see here I've upped my fuel mix to rich, and my fuel right now is running optimum. So given that we're heading into the last lap of the race, I'm not concerned at all about running out of fuel, at least not at this point. And I did notice with Spa, it was very, very difficult to keep a rich fuel mix for any length of time. It seems very, very finicky about that, so have to kind of pick your spots. I eventually just gave up and said, well, I'll just turn up the fuel mix at the very, very end of the race because I don't want to get caught out with low fuel. So skipping ahead here to near the end of lap 9, the start of sector 3, as you can see I'm still being hounded by Kobayashi, and a little twitch there into the gravel, and very scary moment. Thought that Kobayashi was going to have a go on the inside, but fortunately my little excursion didn't slow me down too much. But boy, after all this work of grinding the last 3-4 laps trying to stay ahead of the Sauber, I almost thought that was all about to be squandered. So now we just have to manage it through the last chicane, and able to do that just fine. So we'll be able to pull out a P9 result. And given the sheer pace of the AI, I feel actually pretty fortunate that I was able to even stay in the points. That was a very, very difficult race. But one significance is that it's the first time that I've lost positions. I started out P7 and dropped back to 9th. So that's disappointing. So let's have a look at the results here. The winner was Sebastian Vettel, so Red Bull leading the field there. And you can see that Aguilasari in the Toro Rosso was actually able to finish 6th. And Buemi dropped back to 11th, so that's what happened to him. And you can see my teammate Sutil was able to gain a few positions, up from 18th to 14th. And Fernando Alonso DNF, that explains his last running position. And Jenson Button 22nd, not sure what happened to him. So very, very strange results here in Belgium. And per usual, going to leave you with some race highlights. I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, please rate or subscribe, or both. If you have any interest in more commentary, I do have a number of Forza commentary videos posted, as well as a number of non-commentary videos. I think I just checked my video count and I'm up to about 110 uploads, so probably more gameplay than you'd ever care to go through, but it is there if you are interested. So that's it for now. I will see you all at Monza Monza in Italy. See if I can make a push here late for a WDC title. Probably not likely, but that's what we're all here to do, right? We're all here to compete and do the best that we can, and at least keep some optimism in the garage. So thanks again, everybody. I'll see you soon.